Well, okay. What's worse, if it cuts off the halfway through hole, or if it cuts off after and it's just black hole? Would that have
I
been?
mean,
Well, black hole's an actual thing, so I guess that wouldn't have been as bad.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but a black hole, come on.
A black hole. That is
it's hysterical.
I mean, that's also a real thing. If we want to be technical, they out there. That's one of those things I kind of immediately regretted saying, but your reaction made it worth it.
Oh, that's so perfect. Welcome to After Playlist, the music discussion and reaction podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Terry Yo.
And I'm Brandon Lee.
And for today's episode, we wanted to take some time to highlight some of the more powerhouse vocals that we love, but this time we're focused on the male singers. Oftentimes, when we think of amazing singers, women come to mind first, and rightfully so, because all the talented women across time.
Oh, yeah, checks out.
But today we wanted to, represent for the bros and give the guys that, can belt out a note or two or, hold a note or show some range or effortlessly just swoon with the vocal range and all that good stuff. So, and we can't really wait to talk about it. We've been holding back on this for a while. So this is if you're listening to this playlist and you're not singing along with some of them or at least all of them, something is wrong with you. Okay, these bros is going hard.
Yes. And like Terry said, I cannot wait to talk about it today. It's going to be a great episode. But of course, first, we're going to be referring to several songs from the playlist throughout the episode, probably all of them at one point or another. So just to make sure everyone is familiar and on the same page, going to take a quick moment to introduce all the songs that will be featured today. All right, so starting out, and this is just basically based straight off the playlist, the order that it's in on the playlist. So starting out at the top, we have Hallowed Be Thy Name by Iron Maiden, The Sound of Silence by Disturbed, Rooster by Alice in Chains, These Arms of Mine by Otis Redding, Open Arms by Journey. I just realized the two songs that have arms in the name are back to back. Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley, As by Stevie Wonder, Lovely Day.
Hold on. Just want to let everybody know, it's As with one S. We're not.
Yes, as. The more you stress it, the more it doesn't sound like the word, though. It's weird how that works. As. There we go. You got to cut it off short.
Yeah.
As. Okay. Continuing on. So yes, As by Stevie Wonder with one S. Then we have Lovely Day by Bill Withers, Cause I Love You, Lenny Williams, Life, and correct me if is it KC or KCI? It's KC, right? Is how I was.
Yeah, you had it right the first time. I was so proud. You can do it.
Yeah. Life by KC and JoJo.
Woohoo!
Woo! Holding Back the Years by Simply Red, Two Drink Minimum by Chris Cornell, My Heart Will Go On by Corvyx, and then rounding it off, Seventh Element by Vitas, or Vitas. Mm-hmm. I assume it's Vitas. That sounds better to me, but
yeah. We don't know. I just call it Vitas.
Yeah, we'll go with Vitas. So rounding it off, Seventh Element, Vitas. That's what I meant. So if you haven't already listened to the songs that we're about to discuss, there is a link in the description, aka the show notes of this episode, for the direct links to the playlist for your listening pleasures.
And before we God dang it. Before we dive into the playlist, y'all, it's been a long day. We have some quick after playlist disclaimers. Number one, we respect everyone's opinion, regardless of how wrong or awful it may be.
Always.
Number two, these are just a sample of some of the powerhouse singers that we wanted to share with y'all today. So yes, we know about the Al Greens, the Lufas, the Michael Jacksons, the Prince, the Robert Plants, the Frank Sinatra, etc. We only have enough slots on this playlist to do, an hour and a half maximum length podcast. I'm not trying to have y'all listen to a month-long playlist of every guy that can sing a note. So understand that, these are our, top picks as of now, at this moment in time. if we decide to revisit the topic down the line, we always can do a powerhouse singers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because there's so many
Oh, for
talented
sure.
guys out there that are really doing their thing. And we wanted to showcase the ones that we felt were valid enough to kind of introduce the topic for conversation. Number three, we're not too bad with profanity, but sometimes a few explicit words may pop out occasionally, so be warned for that. There's a reason why there's a little E next to our episodes because
Yes, there is.
we
It's
grown.
deserved.
It's deserved. And sorry, not sorry. And number four, we're just talking about the music, not really the artist's personal life issue, cancelable issues to various degree. So we don't get into all of that unless it's relevant.
Yeah, we might like brush over it, but we're not taking a stance typically
Exactly.
on whatever the issue is. So keep that in mind.
Yep. Yep.
And finally, if you're enjoying the podcast, please be sure to give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. That's the easiest way to share and support the show. So without further ado, let's get into it.
All right. All right. So before we actually dive into the songs, let's kind of I guess, define what we attribute to powerhouse singers in our opinions, of course.
So for me, whenever I hear powerhouse singer, the first thing I think of is someone who is really like belting it out. Like,
Mhm.
One of those moments where you're like, dang, he's got a set of pipes on him. That's what I think of like just initially.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. My thing is like belting, but belt with a purpose.
With
Like
yes.
so that I am very nitpicky about that kind of thing. Like, yes, you can have the range, you can hit the high note or whatever, but if there's no passion behind it, or if it just feels forced, I can't get behind it. And to me, all the guys on this playlist, at some point or another, if they decide to go that high or go that powerful, is valid because the passion and the purpose behind that note is there, in my opinion.
I 100% agree. And I would say, based on the playlist, I think we kind of picked, at least for some of these singers, some of these artists, we picked songs that highlighted more on that like emotional passion side of it than it did just like pure range or pure, pure volume or whatever you want to say. Like we definitely, I feel like
Mhm.
highlighted that aspect more on a few of the tracks, at least on the playlist.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like some of my picks, I wanted to showcase some of the. Also, okay, let me backtrack. Another definition, in my opinion, when it comes to powerhouse singers, and this is both for male, female, or non-binary, or whatever you want to go by these days. If if the passion is there and it's an effortless kind of
Mm,
sound. Like
mm,
you're not you're like you're in a song, you're feeling the lyrics. You're singing the song so much that I feel the lyrics and I'm paying attention to the lyrics, and the lyrics are hitting me in a matter of which like, ooh, I feel that. Even though
mm.
I may not have never been in that situation ever in my life, but the way you're singing it, the passion comes through the speakers and into my heart. And it's a seamless transition from you ain't gotta be you ain't gotta be doing all of that. But when you do hit that note, or if it's like a subtle, just a pause break, or just like a, whatever, like the space in betweens or whatever, to me, that makes a powerhouse singer to me. When you can do the highs, the lows, the in betweens, the loud, the soft, the quiet, the vibrato, all of that. To me, all that goes into the pot of what I call a powerhouse singer, somebody who can do all of that. And sometimes in the same song. Like you ain't gotta be all up in the stratosphere, in my opinion. You can be subtle and just be like that oomph, when it
Yeah,
hits, it hits. And like that's how I feel about it personally.
that's actually a really good way to look at it. I feel like I didn't think about the definition as much before like today, really, like this past week.
Hmm.
But I did kind of subconsciously land on a similar definition of like I do feel like for me to consider it like a true powerhouse singer, it needs to be someone who just with their voice alone,
Hmm.
if they were just a cappella singing, it could like move me to actually feel things. It's
Yes.
powerful enough to do that just on the voice alone.
Hmm.
And again, all of our songs today definitely I felt exhibit that value.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, this playlist has, I would say, varying genres, but I think you kind of lean more rock, and I lean more R&B plus extra. So Do you think the genre matters as far as the powerhouseness, or can a powerhouse singer transcend any genre?
I think a powerhouse singer can transcend any genre, personally.
Mhm,
But that being said, I do feel like certain genres lend itself more
mhm,
to allowing the singer to like have that showcase of their abilities. Something, or the two genres that we have, I feel like more than any other is like rock, with like rock ballads and whatnot, and then R&B just with being able to just like really vocalize and harmonize and do all the fun voice things you get on like really good R&B songs. I
yeah.
feel like those two genres specifically kind of set you up if you are someone who has like a powerhouse vocal ability, vocal range. Those give you more opportunities to shine than some other genres would. I feel like. What about you? What's your thoughts on that?
I kinda agree, but, I mean, I don't even know, honestly. I posed a question, I don't even have an answer to it, to be honest. I mean, it's just one of those things where to me, I'm just like, if you got the pipes, you can sing on anything.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
You can be a powerhouse singer on a beatbox, like somebody can just be
Hmm.
just, boom, 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 and you be in the background, just be "Ah," like I'd be like, okay, how about that?
Yeah.
Download, subscribe. Uh,
In fact, I'm sure I have subscribed to songs like that.
oh yeah, definitely, definitely, for sure, for sure, for sure. All right, so did you want to start off, or you want me to go first?
I'm trying to let me pull the list back up. If you got something to go right now, go ahead. By all means.
Okay. Well, I am going to start with the song that you took off the playlist. Oh my God. I am so upset with you right now. You have no idea how mad I am right now. You took off Nutshell by Alice in Chains and swapped it out with Rooster. Now, now, don't get me wrong. Rooster is a good joint. It's a good song. And it does showcase his range a whole lot more. But bro, when you said feel things, the first time, no, I'm not done. The first time,
Sorry. All right. You're right.
the first time I heard Nutshell by Alice in Chains, bro, my body tingled. You heard
Hmm.
me? And it's just something about that range of guitar, and especially when it's acoustic, and then I can hear the slapping the guitar with the beat and the bongos and stuff, and then the drum comes in, bro. I was melting. You don't understand. And then he came in and sung. I was like, oh my God. And then I'm listening to the lyrics because of you. You forced me to listen to the lyrics. And then I listened to the lyrics. I was like, I feel seen. Oh my God. Because I'm not at this point anymore in my life, but I've been at that point. And I'm just like, damn, this motherfucker is
Yeah.
singing to my goddamn soul. And then you going to send me a fucking text message and say that, oh, I'm swapping this song out for this other song called fucking Rooster. How dare you? So, that being said, Rooster's a nice song. I actually enjoy it.
Okay. So, yes. Dude, okay, I deliberated in my own head for like a solid day and a half just on which of these two songs, like whenever I was initially submitting my picks on which one I wanted to go with,
Mm-hmm.
because Rooster has, and that, Alice in Chains, I love them, one of my favorite like 90s grunge bands. They have several other good songs, especially from Lane Staley, I think is his name, their original frontman that passed away
Oh,
whenever he was still in the group. He just had a very ethereal voice, I feel
yes,
like.
definitely ethereal.
Yeah,
There's so many ethereal
ethereal.
singers on this playlist, but yeah,
There really are.
he was definitely ethereal for sure.
But so I originally went with Nutshell because of everything you just said. Like it just, the emotions behind it just hit so much more than Rooster. But it was your last minute audible of switching the another song or another Chris Cornell later on down the playlist that I
Mm-hmm.
will be approaching soon. I will be discussing soon. Um, you swapped that out, and I was like, I don't know, just something about that like kind of finally broke that deliberation in my head the other way, and I was like, well, dang, because like, all right, I'll be honest, because you submitted your picks, like you sent me the playlist with your picks already on. Then you're like, all right, whenever you get a chance, finish filling this out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd already seen your list, and I saw you seeing Chris Cornell as one of your picks. This is like sparked the inspiration of like, oh shoot, Alice in Chains,
Mm-hmm.
Lane Staley. I gotta have one of their songs. If he's got Chris Cornell, I gotta balance it out with some Alice in Chains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then whenever you swap that, I was like, well, I gotta have Lane's like, I gotta be able to show his vocal range. If he's gonna be showing Chris's vocal range, that's not fair to Lane. Like, I gotta put Rooster on there now.
So it really became like a sing off.
In my head,
He was
yes.
like, oh, okay. So you're gonna go with this one? Well, fuck that. I'm gonna put this one in now.
If you had made a last minute audible of like changing any other of your picks, I probably would not have swapped it. But literally, it's just because you swapped the Chris Cornell song. I was like, all right, well, I gotta swap the Alice in Chains song to the other one.
Man, you don't understand. Nutshell. I had that song on repeat, bro. Like, and it's just
I love that song to death.
it's so good. It's just like and just the instrumentation behind it all, and just it starts off slow, and like I actually studied it because I'm like, why do I like this song so much? And I'm listening to it, and then I guess like the main acoustic guitar, the lead acoustic guitar,
Mm-hmm.
has the same tempo throughout, but then like the other layer comes on top and it starts strumming on top of that, and I'm just like, oh my god, like bro, like
So,
and
do you know the history of Alice in Chains at all?
bro, I am not gonna lie to you. The first time I even heard of Alice in Chains was through this educational documentary called Rock Band on Xbox. And that's how I learned about some of these people because I never heard of any of them. And then I heard that song. I was like, hold up. Because I think they had a song called Man in a Box or something. Or
Yeah,
yeah.
that was their like first big hit, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, I like this song. And I was able to play it on Guitar Hero or whatever. Or whatever game it was. Yeah, I think it was Guitar Hero or Rock Band or whatever around that era. And I was like, oh man, I like more of these songs than I thought I did. And I'm just like writing them down. I'm like, I gotta go home and purchase them as soon as possible. Statute of limitations already passed. I downloaded the fuck out of them songs because I was just like, I didn't know who these people were. I was like, what? This is
I
cool.
did the same.
Yeah, that playlist was banging. So that's the first time I heard Alice in Chains, and then I just went down a rabbit hole of them. Actually, kind of sort of recently before you actually even added them to the playlist. I was kind of just in that headspace, and I was like, wow, this is. I was like, listen to like their greatest hits or whatever. So I heard Rooster before you put it on this playlist, um, and
You're
replaced.
making me think I should just go ahead and slap Nutshell back on the official.
No, 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 no. You did what you did. It's your song. I'm not trying to change your picks. I might just throw it on there
Now you're
afterwards.
making me doubt my doubt I had earlier that made me change it.
I'm not trying to doubt your doubt. I mean, like Rooster is a good
It's just
song.
I love both of them so much. Like
No, I can
so
see
Alice in
why. I
Chains
definitely can see
is
why.
it's like the one really like big grunge band my dad just like loved and would listen to all the time growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wasn't super big into Nirvana or like Pearl Jam or like any of the other like big grunge names you would think of. Like Alice in Chains was like his group. So like I just grew up kind of listening to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't thought about them honestly in years. But yeah, like I don't know, just like both Rooster and Nutshell, like as emotionally charged as Nutshell is, the place it always takes me is literally just like driving down back roads with my dad,
Mm-hmm.
which is a weird place to go for that song. But
Really is, but I can understand. But like with the guitars and everything, it definitely has that vibe of just I don't know. I think I love grunge rock.
oh, grunge rock is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know much about it except for like maybe like a little bit of like the
Well,
top hits.
there's a lot of very trash grunge rock is the problem.
But that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried that I like grunge rock, but I feel like I don't know if the grunge rock that I'm listening to that I like is the quality one. Like I feel like that might be some more quality grunge rock that I have not been fully exposed to that I need to be exposed to, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. Like I don't know what I don't know. So
Yeah,
we'll put a pin in that. We may venture down the line, and
yeah.
if you have any suggestions, leave it in the comments or shoot us a message somehow, some way. You know, y'all know how to get in touch with us. Um, Figure
Please
something out
do.
and like let me know because I need some help. But yeah,
But okay, well, I'm gonna bouncing back to in a nutshell. Sorry. So just a quick backstory on the band and mainly Lane Staley. He basically pretty much all of his adult life was battling a heroin addiction and sadly passed away at age 34 in like 2001 or two from a speedball overdose.
hmm
And it's not what makes Nutshell such a beautiful song is it's one of those songs that like like lyrically speaking, it can apply to so many different things.
hmm
Most people believe that he wrote the song and it's whenever he's performing the song, he's talking about his battle with drug addiction or just addiction in general. which it definitely, makes sense in that regard. But again, it's just one of those things where, like, if you're going through anything where you're just like feeling defeated and just like the world is just like, it's hard to get out of bed the next day just because of everything you're going through. Like, this song you'll relate to.
Yeah, definitely that. Like, it's so emotionally charged. And,
Yeah.
and Rooster's fine too.
Rooster's pretty good, dude. Whenever he's like, yeah, they come to kill the rooster.
Ah.
Oh, yeah. Whenever he like hits that, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, man. It does give me chills.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about, I'm going to start at the top of your picks here. Let's start with Lovely Day by Bill Withers. Because I sent you a little something just a short while before we got on to record this. And I want you to know that's something that I saw a long time ago, actually.
Mhm.
And I've been thinking of this video all this last week. And I was like, I thought about waiting until like showing it to you like on episode, but I was like, no, I'll just go ahead and send it to him before. It's just a quick, short little dumb video. But
yeah, that's honestly how I pictured our whole recording session going. It's like everybody looking at him like, okay, is he gonna stop? Is he?
He's still
he's still
going?
going. He's still okay.
Like all the background singers just looking at the engineer like, dude, are you gonna stop him anytime soon?
I mean,
my God, help!
Is he breathing? So, like, I know, it just something about that song. It puts me in a
Something
good
about
mood.
Bill Withers in general, dude. Bill Withers is
I mean, come on.
He's both like, obviously he's like a classic artist that his songs have been played and replayed all over. But I feel like nowadays he's like, I don't know, maybe just the younger generations, he's like kind of forgotten. He's been like undervalued, I feel like.
Oh, yes.
He doesn't
like,
quite get
super underrated because again, like his songs have been remade and covered to like so many by so many different people that people, I guess, don't really realize that he's the original. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like there's like because he does, he sung "Lean on Me" and there's like another version of like 2 or 3 different versions of "Lean on Me" and there's like the upbeat '90s version that everybody likes that version better than his original. But I'm just like, "Ain't No Sunshine." Like there's
Oh
so
man.
many.
Ain't No Sunshine was my intro to Bill Withers, and I fell in love with him like the first time I heard that song. I was like, who is this?
Mhm.
What other songs does he have? Because I got to listen to all of them.
Yes, yeah, and I struggle with picking that one and this one, but I had to go with this one because the way he was singing that note.
Oh, lovely day. And he just holds it for like a year and a half.
2 years later, he's still going.
Yeah. It is amazing though, man. He definitely like 100% is someone who like can be like just powerfully belting it out, but then there's also like texture.
Yes.
Like there's such a like velvety texture to his voice at the same time.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's like an understated thing. It's like he can't like he's singing to you, but it kind of feels like a conversation a little bit,
Mhm.
the way his voice is. And
Yes.
then he
It's
starts
a great
singing
way
in
to
the
put it.
chorus. But then the verse is just like, oh, like you kind of you feel like you're just sitting out having a cup of coffee with him and just, chatting, on the front porch or whatever. And then he just stands up and just starts singing like that long note or whatever. I personally picked this song. I mean, I enjoy the song immensely, but it also triggers a very specific memory for me that I can't shake. And it's the memory of being at the place where they had this song on rotation and the amount of complaints we got from customers and even employees. Oh my God, I hate that song. Why is he singing so long? Oh my God. Like, this song is terrible. And like, bro, and like I knew I
No
needed
taste.
no taste whatsoever. And like I knew I was like, I don't belong here. like,
These ain't my people.
These ain't my people at all. So I was like, you know what? If this ain't a sign, if you don't like this song, a song about having a lovely day, and you sit here being a curmudgeon about the fact that this man is singing his ass off, and you just like, he's just all I hear is just yelling. I'm like, you're not listening to the music. Like, what is wrong with you people? Like,
That's crazy to me. Dude, that anyone could listen to this song and be like, that's not pleasant to listen to. Yeah. What are you on? What are you smoking, bro? Like,
the literal complaints.
Such a classically good song.
Literal complaints where they want us to contact corporate and be like, can y'all change that song? I can't stand that song when it comes on. Gives me a headache. I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is pre-Karen. Like, this is the precursor to Karen. And you know what? Maybe the song manifests Karens. I don't know. But either way, it just really triggers that feeling to me, like flashback into that period of time. And then I smile with a big old catfish, toothy
But
smile.
you're out of it.
I'm out of it. And also, I'm just like, this song brings you suffrage, but it brings me so much joy. It's a win-win for me. You suffer while
You
I'm
get
having a
what
good
you
time.
deserve.
You get what you deserve for not having a lovely day. So I'm just like, how you not love this song? This song is so classic and effortless.
It's so good. And wasn't this song remade by like
Oh, this song was Luther Vandross did a remake of this song. There's
no,
so many
but
people.
like super recently it was remade. I feel like
Probably so.
I
I'm not really sure. I
want to
know.
say maybe like it was like a duet. It was like Ariana Grande and someone. I feel like I could be wrong on that. It
Oof.
might not be Ariana
No,
Grande.
if Ariana Grande hit that note, I don't know.
Or maybe it was another. It might be another Bill Withers song I'm thinking of too. I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows? It's so much music out there to keep up with.
I remember I had a moment though where I saw the song title and I was like, is that what I'm thinking it? And I clicked on it and then they started singing. And I was like, this totally is. Huh. Okay.
I mean,
it was like not bad, but I was just like,
yeah,
meh, it's not Bill.
exactly. I like Bill's version. I like Luther's version he did, but it's not.
I don't think I've heard his version, or I might have honestly, because I know I've heard several versions of this.
I mean, I honestly don't think you may have heard it. It's so rare.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, maybe I haven't then.
So I mean, it's off the Dance with My Father album, and he has Busta Rhymes on it, and it's two versions of the same song on the same album. So
I did go, by the way, a little, I guess, quick aside. I did go and try and pick. I was trying to find a good Luther Vandross song just because of you and Sharita talking him up. I still haven't. That's still an artist I've really not went back and like listened to a ton. But because I haven't went back and listened to him a ton, I didn't really know. Like, I didn't want to spend like a ton of time just listening through all of Luther's discography to find the song I wanted.
Yeah. I purposely stayed away from Luther because there's skinny Luther, then there's fat Luther, so you got to find the right kind of Luther to get into. Okay, quick aside, whatever you're slapping something is like coming through real loud.
Sorry, my armrest like locks, and I like accidentally bumped it out of lock.
Okay, cool. Gotta start something like. I was like, damn, is he petting that dog that hard?
Good boy.
Beat the shit out of that. Good job. Oh man, that's funny. Okay. So jumping into your picks. I don't know where I want to go with that yet because Lovely Day was great. You know what? I'm gonna start at the bottom of your picks, and I'm gonna go with Stevie Wonder's "Ass." Whoa, let me change that. Let me go with "Ass" by Stevie Wonder.
That's how we need to say it from now on. Ass by Stevie Wonder.
Ass by Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder. Ass.
I'm gonna go by Stevie Wonder's ass.
So okay. For a few of my people or a few of my picks, I didn't have the exact song in mind. I just had the artist, and then I would go to them and kind of look and decide which song.
Mm-hmm.
As was not even like this song was not even one of my like initial. Whenever I was like, oh, I really want to have a Stevie Wonder. He'd be a great pick.
Mm-hmm.
I was not even familiar with this song. It was like not even on my short list or anything. I had somehow never heard it, and I was just like, I listened to like 3 or 4 of his other songs that I was like kind of familiar with, and I was like, I honestly think I had like stopped to like text you. I was listening on my phone, and, like as I was texting you, it auto played onto this song, and like just not at all long into the song, I was like hooked. And by the time it was done, I was like, well, I've never heard this song before now, but I think it might be my new favorite Stevie Wonder song.
That is funny. Cause cause I was curious, like how you like, I don't know if you had like affinity towards, like, I was wondering like, what was the story behind you picking that one? Cause honestly, like I like Stevie, but I put it this way. I like Stevie's hits. I don't know all his stuff for sure.
Same.
But I like Stevie, period. Like,
yeah,
and,
I do too.
So, and he wasn't on my radar at all, honestly, which is an omission on my big omission on my part. I should have definitely picked him for sure. But yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, because I've known this song. I just didn't know it was called "Ass." So, with one S,
which I don't quite understand why. That's one thing I meant to look up but didn't. I forgot to. I don't know why that's the title necessarily. Unless
Always.
there's just like a very like short lyric I missed.
You know what? I think I'm wondering if like this is just me big braining it right now, because the chorus is basically like a whole bunch of like metaphors, right, or similes or whatever. So I'm thinking.
Oh, bro. Yes. I mean, yeah, that makes so much sense because something is, yeah, if you use like or as in a simile or metaphor or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess it's similar,
yeah,
I think. But yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because
That makes so much sense. That was honestly breaking my brain all this last week. Like, what? What's this point? Like, what's the reasoning behind the title?
yeah, I mean, because honestly, like, all I heard was always da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And but
I was honestly thinking like it should be always.
yeah,
As many times as you say it in the song.
yeah, but I never really listened to what the people were singing in the background. And then when I was actually were listening to the lyrics, and actually when I put the lyrics, I was like, oh wow. It was like, I will love you, and like until the trees and the seas get up and walk away. Always. I'm just like, damn, like he's painting this picture of like all the shit that would never happen. Like, therefore, I'm gonna be with you forever. And the fact being that the song goes on always for like another 8-10 minutes. I was like, this bruh. He's like, I'm not going nowhere. I was like, you know what? I'm not mad at you, Stevie.
Okay, I do want to apologize a little bit. Several of my songs are kind of long.
But I'm used to long songs, so I'm okay with it.
And at least one of yours is long as well.
Oh, definitely, and we're gonna get to that in a minute. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this song by Stevie Wonder, and this also broke my brain recently too, because again, I'm a music person, but also I don't know everything. You know, Gangsta's Paradise, this album that Stevie Wonder came from, is the original sample for Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio. That was a sample of a Stevie Wonder song.
Oh, okay. It took me. I mean, I know the song, but it took me a second to like
Mhm.
play it in my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a song
What?
it's a song on this album called Pastime Paradise, and
Okay, that's a song I've not heard.
bruh,
If I'm
we
being honest.
we gotta listen to it right now, 'cause I listened to it, and I was like, honestly, I feel like the original kinda go a little bit harder than the Coolio version. It's really dope. So, I'm gonna play it for you real quick.
Okay, I'm down.
Alright? So, thoughts?
Okay, so first of all, Coolio, like basically just remade that song, but in like the hip hop genre.
Mhm.
Sounds like I didn't realize that. But first of all, I obviously had no idea that that was like sampled and everything from that song. But I also had no idea it was like not just sampled, but like cuts like basically from the exact same cloth.
Mhm. Yep.
Like he uses the same like cadence and then like the chorus, the same like paradise
Mhm.
refrain. Yeah, I definitely agree. That goes harder than Coolio's version, which to be
I
honest,
mean,
I've never been a big fan of Coolio's version.
yeah. Well,
But
oof. Okay.
okay, but
Disclaimer
look,
number
look, look,
1,
look.
disclaimer number 1, disclaimer number 1.
But look. I was introduced
Oh, true.
to Gangster
By
Paradise
Amish Paradise, right?
by Amish Paradise.
Ugh.
And that definitely colored my view of the song for basically my whole life.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I had the inverse of that. So started with Coolio and then learned about Amish Paradise way later in life. And then when I played the Coolio version for people, they're like, "Oh my god, he's remaking Weird Al's song." Like, no, no, it's
No.
not how this works. It's a parody of Coolio.
Do you know who Weird Al is?
Oh my god.
What are you saying right
I had to
now?
argue with some of my friends back in the day. I'm like, oh my god. So
It would be hilarious though if someone did a parody of a Weird Al song.
I mean, a parody of a parody. I mean, at this point, you know what?
I'm surprised no one's done that yet.
I am surprised too, unless we're not know. I don't know if it exists. Point it out to me somewhere.
Yes, please let us know.
So, but also little Easter egg. Again, we like Stevie Wonder's ass. Well, hold up. We like ass by Stevie Wonder, but going back to Pastime Paradise, little fun fact on that song. The song came out in 1976, but it's also one of the first songs to ever use a synthesized string section on the keyboard to ever like make a recording of it. So
okay. Honestly, I didn't know like what year this album came out
Yeah.
or anything like that. I totally expected it to be like more recent
bruh.
than that.
No. No, that song was old as fuck.
Like not like modern, but like I didn't think it was like that far back. I thought it was more in the 80s.
No.
So that's also news to me.
Yep.
That's pretty cool though. Okay, so for Coolio's version of that song, did he Like, is he just straight up sample? Did he tweak it at all? I'm trying to remember. It's been so
Oh
long since
no,
I've
no, no,
heard it.
no. He tweaked it a little bit. Like there's a lot of what they call interpolation, which is they somebody else is singing like the original version of the song, but like kind of tweaking the lyrics a little bit. And so they Coolio had a guy named LV that was singing the hook and everything, and like he used parts of the original song
No, okay, okay.
to kind of mesh in the whole Gangsta's Paradise theme for the song, as well as the song was the name of the movie. Actually, correction. The song was featured for a movie that changed its title to Gangsta's Paradise because of the song by Coolio, the Michelle Pfeiffer movie, which is great.
Didn't that song like win
Oh
Grammys
yeah.
and
Oh
stuff?
yeah. Oh yeah. That's like his
It was a big hit back
that's
in the
like
day.
Coolio's claim to fame. R.I.P. Coolio. But you know, it is what it is.
Well, I guess I'm up for picking.
Yep.
Okay, you know what? It's been eating away at me, so I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off. Let's talk about Vitas.
What a segue. Okay.
Because okay, well let me expand on what I just said a little bit. You specified
Mhm.
earlier in the week, do not, I repeat, do not watch the music video
Mhm.
to this
Sure
song.
did.
And I was like, okay, noted.
Mhm.
And like a rebellious teenager, the one thing I've wanted to do all week was just to watch this damn video. And I have not.
Okay.
I have held
I am
strong.
proud of you.
I didn't even know that the group was. I didn't like pay attention to the cover art. I was just looking at like because it's in Russian.
Mhm.
I assume that's
It
Russian
is.
or some.
It's Russian.
Okay. So whenever you were like, at first you were like, "Are you familiar at all with Vitas?" I was like, "Bro, I don't even know who the hell you're talking. Are you talking about another playlist right now? Like, what are you?" I literally had to take a moment and go back and look at the playlist, and I just happened to see the actual cover art where it says Vitas. I was like, it's got to be, yeah, okay, that's them. Yeah, I was not familiar with this group, whatever they are, whatever it is. I was not familiar with them at all.
No,
Um,
you have no idea how correct you are when you say whatever it is.
I I also don't even know, outside of it having the number 7. I don't even know what the title of this song is, or how to pronounce it, or how to read it.
Okay. Well, the name of the song is called Seventh Element. And
Okay,
I can't explain it. You just gotta see it for yourself. So
I had no idea he was literally just going. I will say what that part of the song where it's like what that reminds me
Mhm.
of is, if you ever saw the movie The Fifth Element with Bruce
Uh-huh.
Willis, with the blue diva,
Mhm.
where she's singing like the supposedly like impossible notes, where they went in and basically like audio engineered it to be impossible, and then people have sung it anyways. But
Mhm.
that's totally what I just kept thinking of every time that bit of the song would come on, is that scene of the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, and I'm wondering if the title of the song was inspired by it, because the lyrics, God, they don't make any sense at all. I actually found like
Well, yeah, half of them are. That's not even a word. That's just a sound. So it's not even a, because that's like blowing your lips. It's literally just like flicking his tongue really fast,
but harmonizing with it, like he's
but harmonizing with it, which is honestly
again.
amazing.
I had to give
Like
credit.
talent
I had to
wise.
give credit where credit's due. All right, so quick backstory of Vitas. He's Ukrainian Russian dual citizenship, whatever, and basically was in Ukraine ish or whatever it was back in the day. Because he's like 45 now. So this song came out in 2001.
Oh,
And it blew up on Reddit when somebody made a meme out of that. So it became a meme in like 2017, and it like blew up. It was like the number one meme of that year ish or whatever. And then he kind of had a resurgence, but he's been singing like doing some crazy shit for a long time. And he and his now wife fled Ukraine, snuck into Russia, was dirt poor, and then eventually worked his way up and found success in making music. And now he's like an international pop star in that world. But he does have like a 5-octave range. So
Yeah, he definitely has some range.
so
I could tell that. I couldn't understand a word he was saying, but I could tell there was range there for sure.
So that being said, I'm gonna show you another video that's more up to date, just to show you how talented and still weird this guy is. So I'm gonna show you this one too.
I will also just like to say that I'm now in my own personal headcanon just going to believe that every Russian night dance club is just like that.
Yeah,
Always and forever.
always and forever. Like if you just pick like any video from the 70s and their version of what the future is, that's what that music video was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
it definitely had like a retro futurism vibe.
exactly. Like everything is aluminum foil, is super
Yes.
color everywhere. Things that are like nowhere near comfortable that people are wearing. Like, why do you have that on?
His weird ass outfit made no sense.
None whatsoever.
Look, it looks so like it looked kind of sweltering to be in. Honestly,
I don't even know.
I could be wrong in that, but
I have
just I look at that, I was like, that looks uncomfortable.
It
and
looks
hot.
super uncomfortable. I'm like, bro, like, how do you even walk or breathe or do any kind of human function whatsoever?
And I'm a pretty thin guy. He's pretty thin, at least in that music video you just showed me.
No, he still is. He's very thin, which is crazy. So I'm gonna show you this video. I don't know what it is about as far as the lyrics, but the cinematic of the video is interesting. I will say that. And I mean, all this came from a meme. I didn't know who this was or what it was. And then I actually kind of like his music because it's so weird and interesting. All right, here we go. The look of confusion on your face the entire time.
I'm just, yeah, dude, I'm so confused right now. Like, okay, I saw he had like gills at the beginning, right? That's why he was like diving into the bathtub. I was like kind of with it. It was weird. But I was like, that's weird, but we've established as a weird dude. But then just nothing else in the video made sense connected to that. What was the deal with the girl?
Okay, so
his opera voice is so powerful it can shatter windows.
Yeah.
And then he's sitting in a busted out telephone booth.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just a bunch of weirdness.
Okay, so
and then she brings him a fish and water, but then what? She didn't have gills at the end. Is that what happened? And so he like pushes her away.
Yeah. So okay, so I've only seen this video. This is maybe the second time I've seen it. But that being said, the narrative I got from it was he's a merman fish hybrid human thing or whatever. So I feel like she is his fish dealer or fish rescuer. Because at the end, I think the fish were in the water with him when he was singing and breaking the glass, therefore freeing his people. I might be big braining it. I don't know.
I mean, that makes as much sense as anything else. Like,
but either way, dude got some chops. So all the way up there.
Yeah, that was definitely
it was an experience.
An operatic range.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so
like, an experience is definitely
that. Like, discover this dude from a meme and who to thunk it.
I did also look up the meme because I wasn't remembering the meme, but then I saw a few of them and I was like, oh yeah. I saw one that was like, whenever you get hot food, it's like, I was like, yes, I remember these now.
I saw one that was like, when you haven't seen your girlfriend in a long time.
Oh man.
So,
that's
awesome
great.
Sauce. Okay. Let me see. Which one of yours I want to jump into? Okay. Complete aggressive left turn. Let's go into Disturb, Sound of Silence. So that's a cover, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
I like his version way more. I just like the.
I don't even remember what the original is. That's not Hollow Notes, is it?
I don't know. No, I don't think it's Hollow Notes. Like I know Disturbed did another cover that I really liked, but I was mistaken that for this initially when I saw it when you added to the playlist. Because I was thinking Land of Confusion, which is
Simon and Garfunkel.
Garfunkel.
I knew it was like a double name group. Yeah.
Okay, so definitely like the Stirs version. Like I forget
Oh
I
yeah, me
forget
too.
the lead singer's name. I'm blanking on it. But
For
yeah,
Disturbed,
I'm
if you
I
hadn't,
know because I asked.
if we were trying to think of it right now, I can't think of it.
Oh man. But yeah, I love his voice. I love Disturbed. And like that's when I
Dave
Dave
Draymond.
Draymond.
Yeah,
Okay. I knew it started with a D. I just could not think of what it was.
yeah, David or Dave Draymond. Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, he has a still. This was, I think this might be. Let me just scan the playlist again real quick. Okay, this is one of two songs that I like specifically already had this song in mind and not just the artist and then had to go find the song I wanted. Like I knew, I don't even remember what tripped this song. I think because you had a Disturbed song somewhat recently.
oh, it was on the songs that had a meaning, I think. Yes, it was on
Yes.
that one.
And that caused me to kind of go back and like look at what, because I think I said on that episode, like I hadn't really listened to Disturb since like '09
What?
ish. Yeah, like around that
Mhm,
time for
mhm,
sure. And so I went back and just like listened to some of their like hits
mhm.
like since then. And this was like one of their biggest hits.
Yes.
And I had not heard it until
Oh
then.
wow.
Like I somehow missed whenever they came out with this cover, like back in like 2017,
Okay.
2015. Yeah, I completely missed the whole album. But whenever I was like going back and listening to them after that episode, I had heard this song for the first time, and so whenever we were doing this one like kind of came to
Mhm.
mind. I was just like, oh man, that is like such a like hauntingly good rendition of
Yes.
that song,
I love
man.
it.
And he is an amazing singer just in general.
Absolutely.
But like this is like a different tone than he would normally use in a lot of Disturbs like other big hits. I feel like
Well, I mean, well, yeah, definitely that. I just like the fact that this song showcases his range because he
yes,
starts very low in the beginning, and then he gets to that high, disturbed, almost scream, but not quite, and then it's like eerie at the same time. It's like hauntingly empty, full at the
yes.
same time because his vocals are filling in that void. It's like super dope to me. Like,
It's really good, like just thematically on point for the song, like subject
mhm.
matter and like the lyrics of the song. Yeah, man, they did an excellent job. Like top 10. I kind of wish whenever we had done our covers episode way,
Right,
way back, I had known about this song because it definitely would have been on that
man.
episode
Like
because man, this is such a good
after we
cover.
did that episode, I was like, I keep coming at the cover, at the cover, at the cover. I'm like, dang it, why did I not think about this one? What about that? Like, that's the joy of doing this podcast. We'll always find something that fits whatever theme afterwards. And after we finish record,
Always.
release the episode, y'all hearing this in real time. By the time y'all hear this, we have like 15 more songs that can fit the same episode list all
Yeah.
over again. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed that one. And it's just it because it was paired up with Nutshell initially. Hearing those back to back, it was just like, oof, goosebumps. Like,
And I will say that I actually did put those back to back kind of intentionally
oof,
originally.
smart man. But yeah, the feels was there. I was just like, ugh. So good. So good.
Yeah, I like that one a lot, man. That was definitely one of those songs I feel like in a weird way, it like puts me at peace in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. I don't know if you get that
Mm-hmm.
too. Like I don't know, just something about just like the cadence of the song and like you said, like especially like how he starts both low but also soft.
Yes. That's what I was trying to say
And
earlier.
then
Thank you.
like, you know, everything you said about as the song goes on, he gets like more like the power of his voice really comes out more and more. But it's like the way that it gradually builds up is not like a sudden like jarring shift or anything. It's like as I don't know, it's one of those songs that like I kept having to like look back at how long it was because it felt like I was going on a journey listening to this song and it was like twice as long as it actually is. It's only 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4 minutes and 9 seconds. But I would be listening to it and I'll be like, I just like in my own mental headspace going on this like mental journey, right? And I'd be like, man, I've been listening to this song for forever now. How long? Oh, it's only been 2 minutes. Okay.
Exactly. But like you like that was the perfect way to describe that song. Because when you think of Disturbed, you know the aggressive the roar that comes with it.
Yeah.
This song has an aggressive undertone, but it is like soft in a good way, soft. And then and the part that really gets me in the most feels is towards the end where you can almost hear that aggression coming, and then he pulls it back.
He pulls it
And then,
back.
and then
And he keeps that tenderness throughout
yeah,
though, is what's amazing. Like even while doing that and like getting right up on the edge of that like
Yeah.
wah, like that, that typical disturbed that he's got.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, he pulls it back, and then he just keeps that same level of just like softness and tenderness and I don't know, man. It's just it's like I know lyrically it's not like a very upbeat song really at all, but it just puts me in a place of
I
peace.
mean, but that's the thing though. Like a lot of these songs that like I notice there's a theme throughout all these songs in some form or fashion. It's either about loss or love in some form or fashion.
Hmm.
And I think that's what uh how can I say this without sounding sexist? Fuck it. Those are the two things that I think men need in order to bring out the emotion in us.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like that, you know, showing love to like your wife or girlfriend or daughter or something is like that was acceptable. Or if you had someone, you had a
Mhm.
loss somehow,
A
some
loss,
way,
a
whatever that
breakup, a
loss.
divorce, or something.
However that loss like took its form in your life, like that was also valid to be like, oh, you can show that you're upset because yeah, you got dumped, or you know a friend of yours passed away or something like that. Those are acceptable, but like other things were just like if you try to make a song about them, I feel like back in the day
Nah.
would not be
One hundred
accepted.
percent. 100% that. Okay.
But
So which one of my picks you want to go to next?
hmm. Okay, well, just since I kind of sort of mentioned it somewhat recently, let's talk about "Cause I Love You" by Lenny Williams. That's your one long pick that you picked.
Okay. I want you to tell me how you feel about that song.
It's very sweet, I will
Mhm.
say. First off, definitely if you have someone that you like are romantically involved in, I could see this being like one of I could see this being like someone like a couple's song almost.
Eh,
You don't think so?
no, I do.
Oh, I thought you said, eh.
Well, I would say it'll be part of a couple's story. I won't say it'd be their song, but definitely because of the lyrics per se. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I guess maybe not like their song, like probably not the song that they would necessarily like be their first dance at a wedding, maybe not, but
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
but would definitely, yeah. I think you probably put it in a better way. It's definitely like a song that like a couple would have that like every time they play it like makes them like reminisce about a moment in their relationship. I don't know, just it evokes those feelings. Like I'm single at the moment, and it's like listening to this song had me like going back through memory lane with some of my old relationships and just like thinking of moments and stuff. Yeah, very emotional, very sweet.
I will. I will summarize my feelings towards the song with this video clip. I'm gonna play this for you, and then I'll elaborate for the audience in just a moment.
Oh, okay. A little nervous, but okay.
You should be.
Shouldn't or should?
You should not be.
Okay. Just making sure.
All right. All right, here we go. All right, here we're back. I had to show Brandon that clip from the Kings of Comedy when Steve Harvey went off about Lenny Williams. To summarize, he basically said, "This motherfucker cried through the whole damn song because he was in love that much." How you feel about it, Brandon?
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say obviously all of these songs in the playlist are like amazing to just sing along with because it's fun to sing along with great singers like that. This song I think in particular was my favorite to sing just because of all the R&B-ness, the like
Mhm.
it just reminded me of it in that clip you showed where the oh like that bit. It's just like when you're like driving down the road and it's just you alone in your car, like you can like
Mhm.
really get into it and it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
Um yeah, Steve Harvey kind of honestly nailed it on the head, man. Like, the dude was so in love, man, that you heard it. They're all 7 minutes of that song. You heard it.
Oh yeah, you heard it. And then the crazy part about the song, because I listened to it a lot growing up, obviously, but definitely over the past couple of weeks. And I just it's a song. Okay, it's one of the few 7 minute songs that don't feel like 7 minutes per se,
That's
but
true.
because there's a lot of changing and not changing per se. Let me say there's ups and downs in the song, and then there's a point where he's just like literally just like,
Going off.
yo, just kind of going off and just like, look, man, I had to call my friend, had to talk to somebody
Oh
about it
yeah, yeah,
because,
yeah.
and I drove to our house and she won't come to the door. She won't answer the phone. Like my friend told me to forget about it. And like, it's like a whole story. Like you go on a whole journey with this dude. And I'm just like, bruh, she must got some ooh wee because I ain't never in my life pull up to some girl out like, hey, please let me in. I ain't never been like that.
Same, honestly.
Like she must got some, man. She got that voodoo up in there though. Like, hell no.
Like, honestly, if my friends were like, nah, man, forget about her, move on, I'd probably take that as like, okay, I must be stuck in it right now, and you're looking at it from the outside in. I'll take your wisdom to heart. He was like,
Yeah.
no, you're wrong.
No, you ain't been in love like I've been in love.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, I just love the fact that like just in the middle of the song, you can see him just like, oh, like it just comes like okay, unlike Disturbed, when he got to that edge, he pulled back. Lenny was having like Tourette's. He was just popping out with the emotion. He was just, I just love to be. I'm like, bro, like you can bring it in a little bit. Lenny was like, nah, I gotta let all this out. And
I bet he felt amazing the day he left the studio after he laid down that track, dude. That had to been such a release to get that off his chest, man. Like, oh my God.
It had to be. And I'm like, bro, woo. Again, when a song makes you feel things and you ain't never been in that kind of relationship and it makes you want to go back and rethink your past relationships.
Exactly.
And like the ones that got away or the ones you got, the ones you stuck with that you don't really want because there was another one out there that you, I mean, it's like a whole.
As you thinking all that. Yeah, absolutely.
Everything. So, and for the supplemental, I had to send you the Twister remake of with the Overnight Celebrity that sampled it. So I wasn't sure if you're familiar with that song in particular.
No, so I was listening to it and I was like, okay, I recognize this is a sample from something.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I don't remember. I couldn't like quite place which song it was. I was listening. I was like, I know this is from the playlist, but which song is it? And I meant to like go back and like actually compare, but I never did end up doing it. You know how I am with samples, dude. It's like I either catch it immediately or it's like over my head.
I mean, when I first heard when Twisted, because like it's produced by Kanye West.
So well, I also am like super like I've heard this song a bunch. The Overnight Celebrity by Twisted. I heard that song like I've heard it. I don't even know. It's a whole bunch, like I said. So I was super familiar with this song already, which might have played a part of it.
Yeah, probably that, but also the fact that samples kind of go over your head sometimes, but it's okay.
I'd be dumb when samples come into play. Okay,
hey, you know what? Look, we all got our weaknesses. You don't understand samples. I don't understand how words work.
Exactly.
I think we're equal.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when it came to Powerhouse vocals, Lenny was my first pick. Lenny was up there, and then Lovely Day. Those are my first two picks. Everything else came afterwards, fluctuated. Those two were the only ones that stayed on here from inception until now.
Well,
like in real time.
Don't hate me, but I was not at all familiar with Lenny Williams before this.
No, that's okay. I mean, it's as you can see in the clip, it was a lot of us's. So I mean, it just, so
what an elegant way to say that. So, there's a lot of yous and less of me's. Is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. So I mean, I can understand that, but I mean, I had to introduce you to Lenny Williams and his just his whole that song, man. I mean, you can't play that song and like around certain people because man, when you talk about the whole family get together, man, everybody, it's just everybody emotion come out when that song come on.
It's a good emotion evoking song. Like
it is.
I mean, all of these do this to more or less degrees, but this one is like definitely on the more side, 100%.
Definitely that. Okay, jumping back into yours real quick. Iron Maiden. Can't say I know of the name and never really listened to a lot of this stuff. I like the song. It was pretty chill. It was, I mean, chill meaning like, I mean, cool. It wasn't like chill, like relaxing, but like I like the range. I really like the guitar part at the end when it goes like I really enjoyed that part for sure. Dude's vocals was dope. I don't know.
Bruce Dickinson is the lead singer for Iron Maiden, at least the original lead singer for Iron Maiden.
Okay.
Yeah, he has a phenomenal voice, and I have to give props to my dad for this recommendation. This was a pick that almost actually made it onto our like best vocalist playlist battle way back when. But last minute got cut. And so this was actually like I'd already had it from that kind of sit in my back pocket. So this was
Okay.
my like very first song I picked for this.
Okay.
Just because I'd cut it from that, I was like, I gotta use it now for this one. It even fits, but it's almost like kismet that I didn't use it for that one and I saved it for this one.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, dude, like this is definitely like a metal rock opera or like a rock. It's like a metal rock ballad. That's the word I'm
Hmm.
looking for. Just yeah, man. His the all the like you said, all the instrumentation is amazing. I'm also not like super familiar with Iron Maiden to be honest. I've only maybe heard like 3 of their songs like ever.
Hmm.
So this being one of them. Yeah. So I again just I don't have like any personal connection or anything to the song, but it was just one that I had been sitting on for a while because he just belts it. He hits some. He doesn't really have like crazy range necessarily. I mean, he does have some good range, but it's not like crazy range. It's more just like the power he brings to it. I feel like is what really
Yeah.
draws me in more than
Yeah.
anything else.
I agree. And like I had some picks in the same vein as Iron Maiden that that end up getting cut because I was gonna put like a White Snake song in here, and I think I was gonna do a
Mm.
foreigner song, and I was kind of going down that route.
I
But I
think
was just
both of those could have been good picks, honestly.
oh yeah, definitely for sure. But I was just like, I'm not sure because I wanted to try to mix up the genres too. So I was just like, I don't like. And we only had, we actually, to be honest, we originally only had 6 slots, and I was like, hey, can we bump it up? Because I want to slide this one in there, and then so it was yeah. I dig the song. Like I said, I don't have much knowledge of Iron Maiden. That's somebody
Uh,
else. I want to kind of get to know more. Honestly, like I really want to get into the hair metal stuff. I feel like I was definitely born in the wrong generation because, like, man,
Hair metal is very hit or miss for me, but
what? I
like
like it. Just the vibe of it
definitely,
all.
definitely like older metal, like the beginning, the like nascent metal, like whenever it was like first like really coming together as its own genre.
Hmm.
That whole like time period of rock music is super fascinating to me.
Hmm.
A lot of really good classic rock songs out of that time period.
Okay. I guess it's technically hair metal, right? Or no?
No,
No. Okay.
I think they're just considered like
Just
they're like one of
metal.
the OG metal bands. Yeah,
OG metals. Okay. Yeah. So
I
yeah.
would think.
I don't
Let me
know.
see what Google classifies them as real quick. Yeah, heavy metal is what
Heavy metal.
it's an
Okay.
English heavy metal band. So yeah,
Okay.
they were formed in this. I didn't realize they were that old. They were formed in '75. I honestly thought they were
Yeah.
formed like late, like at the earliest, like late '7, like '79, maybe at the earliest. That's a few
Wow.
years earlier than even I thought. But yeah, they're one of the like founding fathers of metal. I would say.
Okay. Huh. The more you know. Had no idea.
Yeah,
All right.
supposedly pretty good. Pretty again, I've not really listened to them, but I have friends who are more metalheads than me that could probably talk your ear off about them all day. Okay, well, I guess we'll jump back to your picks now, and I want to talk about Two Drink Minimum by Chris Cornell,
Okay.
and we can also
So
throw in Black Hole Sun as what
yes.
your last minute audible was.
Yeah. Yeah. So my audible was originally had Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. Um, and I wish again, I like that song. It's
I
great.
love that song so much.
I love it. And honestly, that was the song that introduced me to Chris Cornell. I didn't know. Give me one
Much
second.
like you said, whatever song you said you had learned from Guitar Hero, I learned about Black Hole Sun, yeah, Black
Hmm.
Hole Sun and Soundgarden through Rock Band, the first Rock
Hmm.
Band game that came out.
Yeah.
That was like my buddy who had Rock Band. So like, because I had like one friend that had like I had Guitar Hero, and another friend had Guitar Hero, and then a third friend he had Rock Band. So like we only got to play the Rock Band songs if we were at his house with all of his the drums and everything. But yeah, I'd never even
Honestly,
heard of them before that, and that just like I remember that was like his favorite song to play, and we played that probably more than any other song.
honestly, I think it was either that. I think I heard it through the same way that you came across it through Rock Band or Guitar Hero, or it was a buddy of mine that introduced me to the song. And it was funny because like we were on a road trip one time, and just like on his stereo console or whatever, it's not as well. How can I put it this way? Not to put him on blast. His car is a little bit older, so so it has like the LED screen, but it's not like the modern day stuff with the full color
Mm-hmm.
and everything. So it cut the song off. So the song was called Black Hole on the screen. So I was like Soundgarden, Black Hole. What the hell you talking about Black Hole for? And then it was like, no, it's Black Hole's son that it just got cut off. I was like, okay, I see what you're trying to say. I see you. I see you trying to call me a black hole. I see what you're trying to say.
Well, okay.
So,
What's worse, if it cuts off the halfway through hole, or if it cuts off after and it's just black hole? Would that have
I
been
mean,
black hole's an actual thing, so I guess that wouldn't have been as
exactly,
bad. Yeah,
exactly. But a black hole, come on.
a black hole. That is.
It's hysterical.
I mean, that's also a real thing.
Eh.
If we want to be technical, they out there. That's one of those things I kind of immediately regretted saying, but your reaction made it worth it.
Oh, that's so perfect. I think we got our code open. They're out there.
They're out there watching.
They're real. Oh god, that's hilarious.
Oh man.
But yeah, so like that's when I heard about Soundgarden, and I think it was way later than obviously when the song came out. So I think I want to say it's probably it has to be around about 2008 ish or whatever. So fast forward, I finally heard Black Hole Sun, figured out the guy's name was Chris Cornell or whatever. I was like, okay, I like this guy. Then somehow, some way found out, I was like, oh, he was an Audio Slave. I was like, I don't know what that is
I love
or what
Audio
it was.
Slave. I was about to bring them up, so I'm glad you said it first.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. So this guy's all over the place, whatever. Didn't think a thing of it. Then he decided to do an album with Timbaland. And then I was like, ding, 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 I'm in because I'm a Timbaland fan. So I was like, oh, what? This rock dude and Timbaland? What kind of music they're going to make? And then
Amazing kind.
Yeah, for me and you, apparently. So
I've actually not heard it. I was just assuming.
Oh, okay. So here's the thing. So this album came out and the album's called Scream, and there's a song on the album called Scream, and then the first song I heard was Long Gone. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool because this is like around the whole Justin Timberlake, My Love era. Timberlake was doing a whole techno kind of thing or whatever. And just there was a lot of pushback on Chris Cornell leaving his rock sound and going to do pop R&B infused music or whatever. So with that happened, a lot of his fans really did not like this album and did not fuck with this album at all. And even his contemporaries dissed the shit out of him, basically saying that by him working with Timbaland was beneath him and that he should not have
By working with one of the best producers of modern music is beneath him.
yeah, exactly. And they felt like Timbaland took over that whole album and it was more Timbaland and less Chris Cornell because like he has his wailing vocals or whatever else, and they were like
I don't know. I find that granted, I'm not as big of a Timbaland fan as you, but just the little bit I do know about Timbaland, I find that very hard to believe that he would even necessarily just I could maybe I don't know, maybe a little bit unintentionally, but I don't feel like he would go in with the intention of I'm going to take over this and it's going to be what I say is what we're going to do. I could be wrong in that, but I feel like Timbaland's not that type of producer.
I don't think he's that kind of producer either. I did read his memoir, and there was a period of time where he did have a little slump or whatever. But we're all human, and it kind of depends. It depends on the vibe. But this is also the same time where Timbaland was working with Duran Duran, and Duran Duran described working with Timbaland as, and I quote, "fucking horrible." So,
see, I never knew all that.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I just feel like me being a hip hop producer, and when I was doing it actively, I've kind of retired my keyboard and everything. But when I was doing it, I was trying to work with some friends that do play guitar, trying to get them to understand the hip hop mindset of how looping and
it's a totally if you're coming from a rock background, it is a totally different mindset of making music. I feel like in a lot of ways.
Exactly, and I feel like a lot of people who come in with that mindset, it's hard to switch, and they don't want to switch, and they're just like, "What is this? Fuck this! I am a player. I do this. I make real music. You're over here just diddling on keys. Blah 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 blah." However you want to look at it, but either way, me personally, I enjoy the album. I enjoy the infusion of how it kind of flows together. Every song blends together. there's a theme of it being kind of like a motion picture experience from the first song to almost the last song on the album, and it kind of it definitely showcases the fact how Chris Cornell really wanted to challenge himself and also step out of his comfort zone and just make music for the sake of making music. And I think had he not took his own life, I feel as though he would have had even more success now with music being as fluid as it
Oh
is
yeah, I
now.
could definitely see that.
But during that era of time, it was like music was very siloed or whatever. On the album, again, it was all produced by Timbaland or whatever. And then after the second to last song is when the film reel kind of wraps up a little bit because like it starts off with like an old school like movie projector going starting off,
Mm-hmm.
and then the whole thing whatever. This is the motion picture experience. Kind of set up the album that this is kind of like a future presentation situation, and then the film reel ends, and then this song comes on. So this is the very last song on the album. And then when I heard this song, I was like, "Oh,
I
now I
actually
get it."
I actually was not familiar. Like whenever you said I'm going to change Black Hole Sun for another Chris Cornell song, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty familiar with him. It should be fine. This is actually a song I was not familiar with, which
Hey.
was I was like, oh yes, yay, good. I got
Yeah,
a little giddy when I saw that earlier.
sweet, good. But also, I think the fact that you were not familiar with this song is because I mean, a lot of people really did not
It
fuck
sounds
with
like
this album.
it sounds like a lot of people are going to be unfamiliar with this song.
Yeah, and like so much so that like the lead single off this album is called "Long Gone." The original version of the song again kind of has a techno kind of background, and then with the guitar on top of it, heavy 808s or whatever, smooth R&B sound. Rock Radio was like, nah, we're not playing this. So he had to make another version of that same song and made it more rock. So there's two versions of
Mm,
the song. There's a rock version of the song, then there's the original album version of the song. And that's the album version that I gave you on the supplementary listen, if you got around to listen to that.
I
So
did.
that's that. So that's the version of that one. There's another version of the song where it's like more rock heavy. Same lyrics and everything, but just more aggressive. And to where he can get the song played on rock radio because rock radio was like, nah, we're not playing this shit.
I'm
So
glad you explained all that because I did think mainly whenever I was listening to the supplementary songs, which you had what 3
uh
songs?
yeah, I added
Yeah. Long
Sweet
Gone,
River.
Sweet Revenge, and Other Side of Town from that album
Mm-hmm.
as some supplementary listening for me. It was really as I was listening through those, I was like, this is like still good because like I feel like as long as Chris Cornell is singing, it's gonna be at least good. But it was definitely I noticed I had the thought of like this is like different than the Chris Cornell songs I'm used to.
Yeah, yeah. And like
It's
and I was
definitely it's still good, but it's definitely not what I was expecting coming into seeing Chris Cornell on the artist line.
exactly. And I wanted you to kind of like pick up on the that whole little thing in the background. I was like trying to like throw a little Easter egg where I was going with that. But yeah, so like those are some of the songs where you actually can hear like Timbaland doing ad libs and stuff in the background or whatever, having fun with it. And Timbaland, and like in retrospect, even timely enough as we're recording this, I was while doing my research, there's like an article that came out like a couple days ago talking about this album. Like in retrospect, saying like how it's somewhat underrated, but like people still feel like this is like the misstep in Chris Cornell's career. And then not to say that Timberland caused him to commit suicide, but it just feels like after this album,
It was
things kind of it
downhill.
was downhill from that, and then other allegations or other things, whatever. So, but I really like that song, Two Drink Minimum, because
It's a good one.
it's a good one, and then it just really showcases his range and just all of that good stuff. And it's empty but full, just like Sound of Silence.
Hmm.
And I was just like,
It's a pretty good comparison, actually. Yeah,
after going through the whole Timbaland and Chris Cornell combination album songs or whatever, and then have this song close it out at the end just to show people like, hey, I'm still here. I still got the chops. This is just like a little fun thing, me having fun with it. I was just like, after I listened to the album for the first time, I was like, oh, now I see why people are upset because they wanted that, not everything else on the album. They really wanted that last song.
okay.
They wanted the whole album to sound like that last song and then some. So that being said, let artists be artists. If you don't
Yeah,
like it, okay, allow them. Don't put them in a box. Now, and I
Like
say
you don't have to. Yeah, if you don't like it, like no one's forcing you to listen to it. But also, like you don't have to like it, but you don't have to like dog them for it. Just go about your day, listen to something else, man. You don't have to like get on internet forums and be like, he's ruined his career making this album, and how dare he, and blah blah. It's just like, dude, get over yourself. In my opinion,
exactly,
like that gets under
exactly.
my skin.
I feel you. I mean, I think the scientific term is everything ain't for everybody. So
Everything ain't for everybody. True.
exactly. So this podcast is kind of going long. So do you want to kind of rapid fire some of the last ones, or like any other ones that
Yes.
you thought about or really dug?
Real quick, still on Chris Cornell though. I just want to say, just very briefly, you mentioned Audio Slave.
Mhm.
So I found Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun through Rock Band, and then kind of sort of knew about Soundgarden. I'd listened to like a few of their songs from that. Forgot about them for like 5-6 years. Discovered Audio Slave, which is like a super group of like a bunch of like, it's got I think Tom Morello. It's got, I forget who I was in. It's got a bunch of like different like really big uh artists in like each of the band positions or whatever. And I was
Mhm.
like listening through like the album that Audioslave put out like repeatedly, and I kept thinking like, man, this is so, I know this voice, I love this voice, who is this? And it was like after listening to Audioslave for like 2 years, I finally like connected the dot that it was Chris Cornell from freaking Soundgarden.
Soundgarden.
Yeah, I just thought that was a quick funny aside.
Oh no, that's pretty cool. And honestly, about Audio Slate, I did not know that it was a super group of like
Yes, and
other
we are,
band members and stuff. So we definitely got to go down that
I've
road.
been sitting on Audio Slave for some time now. They're going to be on the podcast at some point. Believe you
Okay,
me.
hell yeah,
I'm a
please do
huge
that.
Audio Slave fan.
That's what's up.
My Heart Will Go On by Corvyx is interesting. I actually, this was like the one dude I was like, I got to look up this guy.
Okay,
Uh,
so when you looked them up and you heard when you looked them up, did you listen to the song first and then look them up, or did
oh
you?
yeah, I had listened to the song a few times and then looked them
Okay,
up.
okay, so. uh, I played a trick on my coworker because she's a Celine Dion fan or whatever. So I was like, oh, really? I know somebody that kind of did a cover of Celine Dion. She was like, ew, like no, nobody can touch Celine's voice. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna play the song and then I'm gonna tell you to look at my screen in just a minute. So the song goes on. She's listening to it. She's like, okay, okay, all right, I'm digging it. And then when that big swell comes in,
Oh yeah,
and I was like, hey, look at my screen. And then she saw Corvyx. And she was
yeah.
like, and her words was, he's supposed to be doing some kind of rock, some kind of rock band. Like, why he look like that?
He, dude, 100%, man. You're just listening to the song. You're like, this dude with an angelic voice is covering Celine Dion and doing a damn good job of it. You do not expect him to look like an emo punk rocker dude,
Yeah.
like
I mean, he
like
calls
an emo
himself
goth. He calls himself Corvyx. I looked it up because like, why Corvyx? And it's like it's a play on Corvus, which means raven in like Latin.
Mm-hmm.
But he in the like interview where they were talking about it or whatever, or in the article, I mean, where they were talking about it, the person was like, yes, so even when he's like trying to be like, even with his name, he's still like somewhat on the outside. That's how they put it. And I was just like looking at it like, he looks like he's on the outside already. He is,
Oh yeah.
he is
Like,
out there.
yeah. Yeah. So he calls himself a space witch.
Oh,
So that was like, okay. I mean, do you? He feels that music is the closest thing humans have to magic in this world.
I'm honestly partially inclined to agree with that.
I know. So like that kind of had me hooked. And then, he blew up on social media and everything. So he's like, doing his thing that way. And he focused on finding the space in between the notes with his ethereal sound. And apparently he has like a 5-octave range as well. So he's
I
like
mean, he
up there.
definitely has some. I mean, you got to have range if you're going to do a solid rendition of My Heart Will Go On.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Celine Dion's like one of the greatest singers ever. I feel like most people agree with that.
Oh yeah,
so
1,000%.
you got to bring it if you're going to be covering her songs, and he brings it.
He brings it, brought some, and then
there's some left over.
I mean, it's to the point where I was just like, you know what? Let me go let me go back to the Titanic my damn self. Like, let me go down there and scoop some stuff up. Because I was just like, I don't like Celine Dion's version of the song, honestly.
I don't. I will also say whenever I've like I read the title "My Heart Will Go On," but it didn't really click what it was. And whenever it started playing, like the first time I was going through the playlist, it started playing. I literally went, "Oh, not Titanic." But by the end of the song, he does it so well that I was not like minding at all listening
Like,
to it.
and I like the subtle progression of like you kind of hear the rock and the metal trying to come in a little bit. I was like, I hear you back there creeping up in the background. So I want to give a shout out to my friends Rachel, Catherine, and Vadim for putting me onto this because I was hanging out over at their house one day and they're like, hey, check this out. And I had that same response that my friend, my coworker had. And I was just like, why he look like that? Because if you watch the music video for this, it's very just, I mean,
I
empty
didn't watch the music
world.
video for this, but I did like look up pictures of the dude
Mhm.
and his eccentric outfits. I'll say.
Definitely that. So it's just again, it's literally him in a white room. You see the shadow of a fan blowing in the background, and he's dressed in all black, black hair, black eyeshadow, black everything. Just everything's black except for his skin, essentially. So yeah, I had to throw that on there and give him a shout because haven't heard any other song by him, but if he can do that song justice, I'll
Right.
definitely check out some of his other covers and stuff. But
Yeah. This was
uh,
my introduction to him for sure.
yeah, definitely that. I'm going to hop on two of your classic ones real quick because they have the same arms in the title. So I'm gonna hop on "These Arms Are Mine" and "Open Arms" by Journey. These arms of mine by Otis Redding and "Open Arms" by Journey. I was familiar with the Otis Redding song.
Yeah,
Otis,
which I didn't know that was his like first big hit. I
hmm
was in the course of like looking at him in the song. I discovered that was like his first, like that song's what like kind of catapulted him to. Because
yeah,
he was doing like backup instrumentation for like Little Richard and some other like kind of bigger names for a while, and then was trying to break out. But this one was like the first song that like really took off and was actually getting like radio play and everything, and then started his solo career.
hmm it's just I mean just Otis Redding, like his voice is just it's just something about that time period that I love the rawness of
Yeah,
like
he's
the
definitely someone who doesn't have necessarily like the super powerful vocals,
mhm.
but just the way he sings is like so emotionally charged, man. I
Yes,
feel like
that yeah, I feel it in my spirit with that, and it just I mean I don't know like like he can go. Hold on, let me make sure before I misspeak. I want to make sure I don't. I mean, make sure I give the right singer the correct.
you're talking about for Journey.
For Otis.
Oh,
Okay, all right, I am correct. Okay, so all right, so he can go from "These Arms Are Mine" and do a song called "Tramp" with Carla Thomas and I'm about to play that song for you one day. It's a hoot. It's just the range he has, just being just soulful throughout, but he can bring it and also be like super emotionally charged and uh, just sitting on the dock of the bay, like all of that
oh
song,
man,
like
yeah,
and it just I don't know, like I love sitting on the dock of the bay or whatever. That song is such a beautiful song along with these arms are mine. But every time I hear sitting on the dock, it makes me feel sad.
yeah. It's impossible to divorce. I feel like if you know the story of his untimely death,
Hmm.
yeah, for me, it's also impossible to hear. Which is honestly specifically why I didn't pick that song,
Hmm.
was because I don't want to be bumming myself out all
Yeah.
this last week listening to it over and over again. Because yeah, the whistling in that song was supposed to be just a placeholder, and he was
Hmm.
gonna fly back like in a couple of days to actually lay down the rest of the lines. And then it was like as he was leaving, or it was like as he was leaving there, like the next day while he was on a flight, his plane crashed and he died.
Yeah. So it's just like, like what could have been. I've heard the song before, but I haven't really like listened to it like on repeat as much as I have this past week.
Same, honestly.
But it's short and sweet, but it's just
Hmm.
just straight to the point. It's like, hey, these arms are meant to hold you. Like, hey, my arms they need you in them. Like, what you like? Come over here. So I'm just like, oh, that's like super endearing. And then when you added Journey's "Open Arms," a song that I've heard ad nauseum. So when you added it, I was just like, oh, okay, I know the song. Just putting those two back to back, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, like here I
And
am
I
with
was
you
kind of
with
spoiled for
open
choice.
arms.
I was kind of spoiled for choice with Journey on which song I wanted to pick
Bro, I'm not
because
gonna lie.
Steve Perry is like he's so good.
Bro, I had Wheel in the Sky on this playlist, but then I took it off. And then I had another song on there from this Greatest Hits album, actually. I had 3 songs on there for sure that I was going to put on there, but I was just like,
Faithfully almost beat out
what?
Open Arms just because again it's not like as range doesn't
Mhm.
show Steve Perry's range as well, but man, like I think that was, if I remember, I've only heard that song a few times recently. I think that's like just a very sweet like love song.
But yeah, I that song Open Arms, like, come on, man.
Yeah, well at
And
some point last week you just mentioned Steve Perry and I was like, oh, how
ding,
did
ding,
I
ding,
forget
ding, ding,
about how did I forget about Journey,
ding.
like one of the like greatest rock singers of all time.
Yes, definitely.
um
Yeah.
so yeah, I had to have Journey on here.
Mhm. Another one of yours, jumping into real quick. Sorry, I'm kind of just all over the place. But the Hallelujah. Okay, that's also a cover, right? By this guy, or is he the
Yes.
original? Okay,
No, I think his what oh, I'm blanking. What's that guy's Leonard Cohen,
okay,
I want to say is the original.
okay. Because I've heard the song before. I never heard his rendition of it. This Jeff guy, whoever this is, I don't know who this is. But like I was familiar with the song. So, but I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted because I like his version. This Jeff version, it's okay. But I feel like the other version I heard was like a little bit better.
It honestly for me, I love both. And it kind of depends on the day and what I go back like on which one I think is like better on each given day.
Hmm.
Um I went with this one just because I feel like he does a very good job of like going from like, and it fits like what he's talking about in the song, but he does a very good job, I feel like, of going from like gentle sounding and very sweet to like kind of like a more aggressive, like still has the like soft, like, easy singing that he's doing throughout the whole song. But I don't know,
Hmm.
something about like the tone of his voice a little bit. Just he gets like he brings out some more like raw power later on. And it's like you start to like feel like, his emotions are like boiling up a little bit. Whereas like the Leonard Cohen one is, you could maybe argue is sung a little bit better. He has a little bit more range on it or whatever. But just didn't have like for me at least, I feel like it didn't have quite the same emotional impact. Is why I picked this one. Well, that's just my own take.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, I guess we'll round up talking about the playlist with your, I believe, last two picks that we haven't discussed. I think we talked about literally every other song on here.
Hmm.
Um, those two songs, we'll just knock them out back to back. Life by Casey and JoJo and Holding Back the Years by Simply Red. I'll start by saying Holding Back the Years by Simply Red is one of those songs I've like heard
Hmm.
so many places, so many times, but like I never knew what the actual song was called, what the artist was. It was just like, it's just one of those songs, just kind of ubiquitous, I
Hmm.
feel like. It was super nice to hear. Life by Casey and JoJo, I was not at all familiar with. I don't even
Hmm.
know what movie. I wasn't even remember what the movie it's apparently from. Probably, not even probably, easily your most like R&B sounding, I think, song.
Which one? Simply Red.
Life. What? No, definitely, definitely not Simply Red. That's more of like a slow ballad type, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah. So
Both excellently, like both excellent songs, just very different.
yeah, definitely that. So the movie Life, starring Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, it's a comedy classic. Like uh, well, I guess we for all black people, but I will say a good chunk of black people, good 95% of us, still quote lines from this movie. It has, like I said, legendary comedians. Bernie Mac was in it. So many different legendary comedians. I feel like I don't know if Dave Chappelle showed up, but it's a guy that looks like Dave Chappelle in there. Anyway, like the movie is basically about prohibition in America, where uh Martin Lawrence was like a bootlegger trying to
Hmm.
sell some alcohol, and he was hustling trying to make some money. So alcohol in the wrong town, and just like, oh, you're black trying to sell alcohol, life in prison.
Arrested. Oh, that's where Life comes from. Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So,
Now that you say that, it does look like on the cover,
mhm.
They're
Yeah.
wearing like prison
Mm,
stripe.
exactly.
That makes sense. With like the
Yep.
the 1920s, 1930s
Yep.
prison cap. Okay, that
Yep.
makes
Yep. Yep.
sense.
So this song was like the theme song for the movie soundtrack.
Mm,
For the movie. So thus, that was during that era when, people would make those kind of like make a movie, have the soundtrack, and then have a song from the soundtrack for the movie to try to promote the movie as well. It's a song
I
that
miss those days sometimes.
I really do. I miss it so much, honestly. But anyway, so this song in particular, I forgot about until I was playing some music at work and somebody had brought it up. I was like, oh shit, I forgot about this. And remember the group Jodeci from the R&B?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is an offspring of that. So Casey and JoJo split up from
Okay.
Jodeci and went together as a duo. So it went from a quartet down
Did
to
you,
a duo.
did you talk about that on that episode?
I
I
did.
vaguely remember you mentioning that,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think I had like a reference for Casey and JoJo at the time,
Exactly.
so it didn't like really stick in my head. But now, you just saying that reminded me of it. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and it
okay,
had
that definitely makes sense.
and it had another song called "All My Life," which is people still play like at weddings and stuff like that.
I've been fighting all
All
my
my
life.
life. Wrong movie, but
Oh, whoops.
but still in the same time period, more or less. But anyway, but yeah, so like this song is really dope. I like it because it's subtle, but you can hear KC kind of going off in the background a little bit with the emotion part. So that's why I kind of picked this song because again, it's not it's a heavy subject matter with the lyrics, but
Yeah,
at the same time, you hear the pain and the anguish coming
for
through,
sure.
vocally, with all that stuff. Fun fact: the song was produced by R. Kelly.
It does say that on the cover art.
Mm-hmm. So, and yeah, the movie definitely produced a lot of R. Kelly produced a lot of the music for the soundtrack or whatever. So,
So this was came out during his like heyday, I assume.
yeah, this is definitely late 1900s material for sure. So it's there's a lot a lot of good quotes on for this movie. If you want to go down a rabbit hole and just like look at life movie quotes or whatever, yeah, it's crazy. But
I
yeah,
might just watch the movie, man. I
I'm,
love both Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence.
oh yeah, it's a good movie. It still keeps up to this day. It's so funny, and I love the ending of it. The ending of it trips me out every time, and I love the
Yeah, I'm gonna
soundtrack
check it
for it.
out.
And then as far as holding back the years, I used to hear this song at the place and fell in love with it. Except for I was singing the lyrics hella wrong. I was like holding back these tears because I
I
couldn't hear.
honestly, it took like listening to it like 4 times for this episode before I finally it clicked that he was saying years, not tears.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
kept, yeah, for years. That's sorry, but for a long time, I thought that it was tears as well.
Yeah. So when I heard like holding back the years, I was like, okay. And I'm listening to the lyrics. I was just like, oh damn, like you really like holding yourself back. Essentially, it's like, instead of letting shit go, you're like holding yourself back. You gotta like let that shit go. So I was like, okay, cool, cool. And then which hopefully you caught it on a supplementary, but you probably didn't. Which is okay if you didn't. But like the 8 Ball and MJG song coming out hard,
I did not. I was
samples
gonna
this song.
ask, what was the point of putting that on there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So it samples this song. So
man, you know how I am with samples.
like I don't want to like make the playlist super long, so I was like, maybe if I put it separately, you'll go back and do it. So okay, so yeah, I really like because like I heard the 8 Ball MJG song. That song came out in '93, so this song came out way before then. And
I was also not familiar with that song at all.
oh yeah, it's classic. That's like early hip hop, 1993, Memphis, Tennessee. Doing their thing or whatever. But yeah, holding back the years. Again, Simply Red was like one of those people that like I heard the song, had no idea who they were, what they were, or whatever, and then I looked them up. I was like, oh wow, this wasn't who I was expecting singing this song, and I just love the clean effortlessness that it seems. Like I'm quite sure you put a lot of effort and finesse into it, but I just love how it's so smooth. It's so smooth, and then towards the end where he just hold it,
Oh yeah,
like I was like, oh, get it, bro, get it. So,
he's still making albums too, dude. He just had an album last year.
mm-hmm.
Time by Simply Red came out in 2023.
Yep, yep.
That's crazy. I was trying to figure out when this one came out because
Uh,
like the one you put on was a 2008 remake. I'm trying to find out when the original.
no. It wasn't a remake; it's a remaster.
Oh, remat. Oh, okay. So it's a remaster of it came out in 2008. Is that what it's saying?
No, it was remastered in 2008. The original
Well,
song
yeah,
came
that's what I'm trying to find out is when the original came out.
Holding Back the Tears. Song by Simply Red. Da-da-da-da.
I don't think it has the original on YouTube, which is where I'm currently trying to find it.
Yeah, so the song came out in 86.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I was
So
gonna say it's definitely they only have albums for him back to '98 on YouTube, which is kind of whack.
yeah, it was extremely. How dare they? Not how they full
But
discography.
but okay, yeah, that song is great. Simply Red's great. I had no idea that's who this was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna go and listen to some more of his stuff at some point in the near future.
Oh yeah, and they actually did a song called "Sunrise," which is which samples Hall and Oates. I can't go for that. So I was like, I heard their version of the song. I was like listening to it. I was like, this sounds familiar. What? This sound like who is this? And then I hear doom 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 doom. I was like, oh snap! You don't sample Hall and Oates. I was like, okay, that's dope. That's dope. I'm feeling it. So yeah, I don't know too much about them. Apparently, like they're a British group, British
Hmm.
pop soul group. So again, me falling in love with English musicians is seems to be a thing.
It's on par for you.
It's on
Yeah.
par. Again, I'm learning about myself. So and yeah, they've been active since I've been alive, and still out there performing apparently. So that's dope.
Sweet.
Mhm.
Okay, real quick before we wrap up, I do just want to briefly talk on something that I thought I've had kicking around my head since we put this playlist together.
Mhm.
Because I tried really hard for like a few days to have some like more recent
Mhm.
songs. Because anyone who's looking at the playlist, who's listening to this episode, pretty much all of these songs for the most part are like 20 plus years old.
Greatest hits of
Here's
the 80s, 90s, and now. Well, not now, but 80s, 90s, and
oh,
this
several of them are from the 70s too. So like so
70s,
70s, 80s,
80s.
90s. Yeah. So it's like so I was wondering, like I was thinking about it a lot, and like why is it? Do you think that there's like not really like a clear cut? Like obviously we have some amazing talented singers still coming out today, but like why is like it's like no one immediately comes to mind for me at least whenever I think like a modern day powerhouse singer the same way like some of the artists on this playlist come to mind.
Well, so for me, personally, I feel like there are some out there still doing it in the R&B realm, but it's really an R&B mainly, like old school R&B, like 90s, and maybe some of the 90s R&B artists that are still actively doing music, like the Tyrese's and the Genuines and some of those guys that are still active, but they all started in the 90s.
Okay.
As far as like a new artist that's like just coming out like within the past couple of years, I just feel like times have changed.
Yes.
As far as the requirement to be a quote unquote singer. And again, this is my hill to die on. If you don't sound the same live like you sound in
Yes.
the
I was
studio,
about to bring up this same point. Yes.
like that's like you're not a powerhouse singer to me. You are
There's so much more audio editing technology nowadays and tools and you know devices you can use to enhance and change how you sound singing that it's hard I feel like because like you're almost limiting yourself if you just like don't use any of that, especially now I feel like nowadays a big part I've kind of landed on this idea of like especially for like younger generations that are like just now getting into adulthood or are still growing up. Like it's very it seems to be a lot of music coming out today is much more like vibe is as like the focus like it's the if
yeah.
the vibe is right it'll take off. Not necessarily is the person like a talented musician. Obviously that can help, but that's not like the focus for a lot of like listeners. It's more like does this like hit the vibe I'm trying to get?
Well, I think well in combination of the vibe part, like so you need the vibe part first and foremost in order to get your attention. But the problem is everybody's attention is so saturated right now. And like so,
True.
and like I think what really helped, but also kind of hurt at the same time, which I get it, being a struggling musician and you want to kind of rise to the top in some form or fashion. But back in the day, there was limited resources to get your music out to people, and therefore the gates were very closed, and there's a lot of gatekeepers or whatever. Then as music became more ubiquitous and technology changed and access and all that stuff, started to grow, more and more artists started flooding or whatever, but then there were still gatekeepers. Now there's artists who literally, quite literally, can make a beat in their bathroom, edit it on their laptop, upload it, and be on the radio tomorrow. Whereas back in the day, you had to go through artist development, A&R, the record label, sign a deal, get your stuff pressed, get to the radio station, have a set
That's
up
a
a
very
deal,
good point.
like set up a deal. Like there was way more barriers to entry. So usually when the artist got discovered, it's because the talent was so raw that they're like, oh man, this person is amazing. They sound great. They were able to push them out to because of the talent was so good, and that's what sold. But
In
now,
addition to that, I also feel like record labels, it's an investment for them,
exactly,
right? So they're only gonna invest in like a product they know is good enough to get them a return on that investment. Whereas, like you just said, the technology nowadays, you can just you can have a whole discography uploaded to SoundCloud and you blow up, and there's no middleman or anything like that you got to worry about.
exactly,
There's no one who's like trying to like make you the best or like make you be a certain way in that situation, at least.
exactly. But because of that, now artist development is missing, and I feel like that is a crucial step that a lot of artists, in my opinion, on the outside looking in, I think that part is really missing because there's a lot of people who aren't media trained. They're out here just doing whatever because they feel like they got the talent or they got success for right now that they can just do whatever and they're above the law and then they fizzle out and burn out very quickly.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
but also record labels back in the day and actually currently now, a lot of them are predatory because they want to invest in order to get money off of you. So now instead of going through artist development, they want you to already have a following. You've already done your own artist development. You pretty much have a whole album done or whatever, and then they can come and be like, "Oh, cool! I can make money off of that. If I give you a little bit, let me get my cut off of that." So they basically start pimping you, and then a lot of people start catching up on that game. And I was like, "Okay, well, we're not going to do that. We're going to cut you out the picture entirely and just bypass that entirely." And now you see the consolidation of the music industry because now it used to be like five major record labels. Now there's like two or three left, and they're all just kind of just gobbling up each other. And now it's like acquisition, merger, and now everybody's either on RCA Records or Interscope. I mean, that's pretty much what it all boils down to. So I just think now because the market is so saturated that anybody can release something, and people are not really looking for the talent, they're looking for the vibe. And if the vibe feels good, that's cool. But when you get tired of that vibe, you move on to the next vibe. You move on to the next vibe,
Right.
move on to the next vibe. So
Yeah.
like there's not like a lot of I feel like a lot of artists, if given the time and give the space and give them the chance to grow and manifest into their abilities, that will be phenomenal. But I don't think as a collective listening audience, a lot of us don't have that time nor patience. Because if you can't make the song I want to hear right now, there's 15,000 other people that I can just click on a button and listen to right now to give me that,
That is so valid of a point, bro,
which
that
sucks so
I
hard.
really didn't look at it from that perspective.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it does suck because we have super talented singers, and there's probably a whole host of like powerhouse singers that are just trapped in like SoundCloud hell that I've never, will never see popular light of day. Like, I don't have a doubt in my mind that that's a thing that exists, but like no one is like really blowing up. And
What
so
you know what? I I stand corrected. There is one recently that we talked about on the podcast a couple episodes ago. That's relatively recent. Teddy Swims is like one. That
okay,
potentially,
yes.
but
I'll give you that. He's got a lot of soul. He's got a pretty powerhouse voice, I would say.
yeah. So I mean, so there's some that are out there, but again, it's so far in between that you really have to be like listening for it. Another one to throw somebody out there who may or may not people may or may not know that he's a good singer without the auto tune. T Pain.
T-Pain, T-Pain. That's man. I would have loved to have some T-Pain on here.
Yeah,
That actually would have been great if
that
I had thought of him.
yeah. If I would have thought about it too, honestly, until this point, into this conversation, I probably should have thrown him on here actually, because he has an album called Cover to Cover, I believe, and like he
Yeah.
covers a whole bunch of classic R&B songs and
His cover of a War Pigs by Black Sabbath is
phenomenal, right?
bone-chillingly good. It's so good.
Yeah, so
It's probably that's probably, I mean, the whole album is great, but that's probably my favorite just because it's so like
Soulful.
unexpectedly good.
Yeah, yeah, same here. Like,
Like you hear T-Pain's covering a Black Sabbath song, you're like, I'm gonna check that out because I'm interested just how that turned out. But then you hear it and you're like, oh my god, that's amazing.
yeah, like
I want to hear this right. I want to hear it again right now.
yeah. Another one that I guess you won't really. Well, I think he's been in the game for a while, but I don't really know for sure. Like Chris Stapleton, like Tennessee Whiskey, like that's
Yeah,
like he's up there. So I mean, they do exist. I just feel like for me personally, I really want to focus on the classics because that's where I feel like you have the more plethora of options. Whereas now,
it's also I did have this thought of obviously I wasn't around in the 70s, 80s, or super conscious for most of the 90s.
or
Um,
were you?
I was not. I can verify. Uh, so I say that to say though, we're looking back at like songs that have stood the test of time.
Yes,
Well, obviously, there are so many songs that came out. If you were around in the 70s, there's so many songs that came out of that time or like, released in that time that no one remembers because they didn't stand the test of time.
fair.
So it's like, 20 years, 30 years from now, I'm sure we'll be able to look back and be like, oh yeah, look at all of these great powerhouse singers they had in the 2020s. It's just like you said, there's so much more now. It's just kind of hard. It gets buried in
Uh,
the noise a little bit.
That is so true. And you know what? God, that really kind of makes me wow, that kind of hurts my feelings a little bit. Because like, yes, we live in an era of streaming platforms as far as music and everything else, but not every label made it to streaming. So like there are some songs and stuff out there that are just lost in the ether, like super like digging in the crates, like super rare kind of songs. They're like somebody's probably belting their asses off, and we won't never hear it because their label either fizzled out or it's just they never really converted to streaming.
If you ever have some just free time and are looking for something interesting and fun to do, look up just like a random year from like, decades past and look up what the top 100 Billboard hits were.
Hmm.
And you'll recognize a good bit of them, but just find one that you've never heard of in your life by an artist you've never even read before
Hmm.
and just try and look it up and see what it sounds like. I've done that a couple of times and it's just
That
like I did it for like 70, like 6 or maybe like 74 or something one time. And it was just like, I remember thinking like this is so 70s right now.
yo that
It's just like it's like a cool music time capsule kind of because like again they're not songs that like have stood the test of time, so they're not like timeless songs. Like it's very much from this era,
mhm.
but they were super popular of the era, so it's like a good song to showcase that era. It's interesting to do.
That is fascinating. I never thought about that. That does sound like a fun idea to do. Huh.
Yeah,
Okay, that's pretty dope. Wow, this was a lot, man.
this was way more than I thought we would talk about. But
Same.
like we said at the top, we had a lot to get off our chest.
We had a lot to get off our chest, but if you want to get off with us, you can follow us on social media as well as go to our website, afterplaylist.com. I don't mean that literally, but if you do, leave us a comment and let us know. But we're really talking about the music, y'all. But
Yes,
hey, we
the music.
strictly the music. But hey, you know what? We respect everyone's opinion, regardless of how terrible or nasty y'all may be thinking, because we actually are not nasty people. We're very pure and innocent.
Yes, we are straight up.
So, but yeah, give us a like, follow, all that good jazz, whatever. Y'all know how to support the show if you choose to, or at least share it with your friend or whatever. Anyway,
You can also find us on Patreon at patreon.com/afterplaylist if you'd like to support us more directly.
yeah,
It'd
absolutely.
be much appreciated.
Yeah, we much appreciate it. We're not asking for much. We're literally it's just us, y'all. So anything y'all can do to help us keep the streaming going would be beneficial. But hey, just showing the love. That's pretty much all we really can ask for, honestly. So
Yep.
anyway,
Yep.
until next time, keep on listening.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.
Black Giraffe made this.